My people, a whole lot is happening in the political zone. Everywhere scattered. The moment Seun Okinbaloye said a whole lot of things about President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, a whole lot of mess. You know, everything in this video talks about President Bola Ahmed TINUBU ever since he emerges as the president of the nation. You will see everything that has been said about President Bola Ahmed TINUBU in this video. President Bola Ahmed TINUBU was messed up in this video. A whole lot of shenanigans and criminality has been emerging ever since President Bola Ahmed TINUBU emerges as the president of the country, and even before he became the president of the nation. And you will see the present situation of the country. Even the 2024 budget was labeled a mess in this video. I want you to stick to this video to the very end to know the reason, to see the reason behind. They said that the 2024 budget of Nigeria, the 2024 budget of President Bola Ahmed TINUBU was a mess, and it's still a mess presently because a whole lot of Nigerians are wallowing in poverty presently. A whole lot of Nigerians are struggling to survive in this country. Ever since President Bola Ahmed TINUBU entered as the president of Nigeria, a whole lot of Nigerians have been wallowing in pains, and they are clamoring for change in this country. I want you to stick to the screen of this video. I want you to see everything in total as I'm going to be playing everything for you in this video. My people, share this video to every social media platform. If you cannot share, like it, give it a thumbs up, as I'm going to be diving directly into the video for you to see everything that is going on in the Nigerian politics. I want you to see everything, and after the video we'll come back and wrap up. My people, stay connected.
Welcome you back to LAVEELED TV show.
The whole of crime scene
is happening in the street again.
the center of political news, celebrity gossip, religious gossip, and happiness in the society.
Join us, the voice of Africa.
Welcome you to LAVEELED TV show, where we bring you political, celebrity, and religious gossip. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, do well to click the red subscription button, and don't forget to click the bell icon so that YouTube will notify you anytime we drop another trendy video.
But let me ask you,
we need to think long term.
if you are on the it's just like Belumi that traveled from London, and I must kudos on me, because that's a young person who took a lot of risk. She had an accident when she got to Africa, but she still pushed until she got to Lagos. So if you're like that kind of a trip, by the time you left London, for example, and you moved, and you will know whether or not, based on your on the map, whether you're on the right track.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the TINUBU government, I'm always an advocate of people believing in the government, because you can never make a progress if your government is not making the progress. A progress of a people is determined by the people who will lead them. So it's important that we make sure that the government of the day makes the right make progress for us as individuals also to make progress. Now the question is, in your own assessment, from what you have seen, the early day performance of this government, 1 year or not, does it look like we're on the right track, economically speaking?
I don't think we're on the right track. I don't think, because there are a few things we are still not getting right. Number one, look at the budget. That was where we started messing things up. We understand that the budget is a tool for fiscal control. You have to have a grip on it. There was a time where Okonjo-Iweala insisted that the budget office must be under a ministry, because she knows that if I'm planning financing and the budget, which is the instrument of planning for finance, is not under my purview, then definitely I've lost control. Then what am I planning?
So you think the 2024 budget is a mess?
It's a mess. That's where you start with. You have a budget that gets that messy. You allowed it, and I understand. The president was a former senator. The vice president was a former senator. The SGF was a former senator. The minister for budget and planning was a former senator. So definitely looks like, maybe in their thinking, looks like they've outsourced the budget to the legislative part of the government to decide and to drive. It looks like, because for me,
so the budget is a disaster from your own point of view.
1.2 trillion naira projects to the budget, and what's the business of federal government in buying cars for traditional rulers? What's the business of federal government in building 10 million naira town halls buildings? What's the business of the federal government in doing solar lighting at every nook and cranny? Well, we know that these projects is just part of the procurement industrial complex. Just a few people trying to insert their own interest into the budget.
Money for the boys.
The federal government is supposed to focus on the big pipe projects and let the state and LGH function as they should.
So it's a recipe for disaster from your own point of view.
That's where you start. That's where the problem starts. So you can't get a control of the fiscal side. Whatever Mr. Cardoso is doing is like is half of the basin. It's not going to ever be enough until you have a bit of control on the fiscal side. And if your capital expenditure, you don't have control over it. I mean, it's not your salary. How much are you paying in salaries? It's not the salaries that is the problem. Your capital, your FX, if it's not going to the productive component of the economy, definitely you know that a chunk of that will be wasted, will be pocketed.
So
what happens after?
The monetary side looks like we may be getting somewhere, but the fiscal side,
we are not. And that's the same thing with trade. Because you look at us in trade, we have to be honest. What are we doing by trade? When we say what's the trade policy of the Tinubu government? The person who is manning the trade or who is leading the trade, let me use the proper word, the trade ministry, does he have the requisite experience in a very, we know the terrain of global trade? Those are the questions. When you say Nigerian Naira is most performing, I mean, that it depends on how you are looking at it. We're not, how are we performing? I mean, we look at it based on when you're referencing it to, if you reference to maybe when it was 1,800, 1,600, and now deep to 1,100. I mean, it's back to 1,314 as of today. You can say you are playing with mirrors. You're looking at yourself and you're looking at 10 mirrors at the same time, and you're lying to yourself. So I mean, you can't use the exchange rate to judge the performance of the economy. And I think a lot of Nigerians, they make that mistake. They will look at exchange rate and say, oh, this is the state of the economy. No, the economy is much more broader than that. What I say is that, yes, the currency is not performing. And if you look at it, our currency is going to be like this for a while. It's not going to change. Look at dollars. I mean, the currency. There are some perception drives the game significantly. Let's not lie. I don't believe that the parallel market has a lot of depth like that. I feel like once in a while, people bring shockers to the market. Let's assume someone is trying to buy $50 million today now. Then you call this your malam. Then you call that Bureau de Change guy, and the guy says, oh, I have just 100,000. The guy now starts putting markups up and down. Before you know it, it becomes the entire mood of the market. So definitely you have significant swings like that was shaking the market. But I think if the CBN is intervening as it wants to intervene, it will still stabilize the market at some point. But some of the other things, what is happening within the P2P, the parallel market, people having these Binance and all of those things, it's not, for me, that's not where the underlying fact is that we are not a productive economy. That's just the truth. And as long as you're not a productive economy, your currency can be a store of value. I mean, look at our production. Where are we? I mean, you came into office with sometimes even during Buhari's regime when oil price was as high as $100, $110 per barrel. You couldn't produce. You're back in also. We are doing 1.2 million barrels per day. I mean, there were years, maybe we'll talk about with the Jonathan times. It was not just because price was high. It was also because production was also high. Now we are in a time where production is low and weak. And if you cannot get enough earnings from oil, which is almost like 80% or 90% of the foreign exchange we earn from goods, then you are going to have challenges. And also you don't have diaspora also, the money has not been trickling in as it should. So for me, I feel the fundamentals, I mean, you can, for this exchange rate, I'm not a big fan of discussing it, but I tell people, don't follow trend, follow the fundamentals. A lot of people say, oh, the dollar is 180, it's 190. They ask, no. What is the fundamental of the Nigerian economy? And
you don't think anything has changed?
Nothing is changing.
From the Buhari era and up till now, almost a year into the Tinubu government.
Nothing is. What is changing the fundamental is that the appetite for young Nigerians will continue to increase. We have a young population. They will buy electronics. They will buy phones. They are going to travel. They are going to go to school. So definitely the demand for FX will keep increasing, because you are not a China or Japan, which by culture is a saving culture. We are a loud culture. We are a spending culture. You see someone would start and say his daddy that 10, 20 years ago, he would open a tent, he would still want to do party, he want to fight. So that's who we are. So definitely there will always be pressure to take in foreign goods. Either we like it, either we prefer. That's why I said people should, when people look at exchange rate and make a decision, follow the fundamentals. And the fundamentals is that we have to be a productive economy. Oil exports, non-oil exports, all of that has to happen. Even if we dip down on our imports, which would happen, but it's going to balance out, because the FX you are earning from export of crude, you now give that same crude to Dangote to produce. You're not going to get that FX in dollars anymore. That we're not going to sell oil to Dangote in dollars. Only at the end of the day, if we sell, because Dangote is going to sell at the end of the day in naira. At the end of the day, Dangote will also want to pay back his loan in FX. Let's not forget, he also has a family office in the US, which means he has to start, talking some things away. So we are only deceiving ourselves. If the only way out, every economy is locked in a battle to produce. And we have an opportunity with oil, with gas. Let's say we didn't even sweat for all of that. Now, beyond that, agriculture, mining, manufacturing, export, what exactly are we going to stimulate? Without us not doing that, we'll keep going to this sinusoidal movement with our currency. But the clause there, what measures are we doing?
But the CBN had come out to say the Nigerian naira is best performing.
Because if you look at raft of measures, it's not only the CBN that will keep the naira stable. The fiscal side has to do its part too, which is the Ministry of Finance. You have to have a grip on your capital expenditure. If people are spending on projects that are not productive, that are only greasing the political machine, where does all of that money go to at the end of the day? It turns to dollars. All of these people have families, they have children, all of them studying abroad, living abroad. What do they do with that money? I mean, you have to know that the CBN cannot do the issue of the currency alone. They would, because they're doing what they can. I don't like the BDCs that much, but they thought that is the only way they can give liquidity to the retail segment, and they've done that. Okay, the banks were holding a lot of positions in FX, and you can see how much the skyrocket and the stratospheric profits that banks were delivering. It was just because of exchange rate adjustments, and they told the banks to sell down those positions. So they've done some things to really bring some liquidity to the system. They've issued bonds, did carry. I mean, a lot of a few FPRs come in with that basis. Some of those things, like we are kicking the can the road. In another 1 year, the CBN will be obliged to meet those obligations. So they've done some few things to stimulate. The MPR is high, but that's what the CBN can do. All of that are just ad hoc measures to get stability. It does not guarantee stability. What guarantees stability is a continuous supply of the ethanol control production.
So I mean,
because
so
you are
I
doing
ask the question.
it's like you have a house, and you did not paint that house. It's still plastered, and you're trying. I will manage it like that. I will put windows around it. What will make the house stand and look attractive and stuff? You have to be an attractive economy.
So I ask, if we start building industries, it will take 2-3 years for us to be able to say, to convince the world that this is what we are producing. For you to guarantee and convince the rest of the world to the quantum of FX that we need in terms of manufacturing and production, we take nothing less than 5 years before the world to recognize that you are doing something anyways. But what looks to me like a low-hanging fruit is perhaps in the digital and tech sector. On one hand,
but that's also not easy.
That's also not
because
easy.
Philippines, India, and the rest, they are heavily inside it.
Even the United States, the biggest of the biggest, the big four, they are there. But the question again is agriculture. Which for me is a low-hanging fruit, and we will need at least 1 or 2 seasons to be able to stamp our feet to be a producer that the world could recognize. Again, the issue of how we export this is also a problem, because we've tried to export before they got to their destination, they were rotten. Where do we start from?
We have to be. You see, we are too lazy because of oil has given us this rentier culture. To put a bit of some steel on the ground, drill down, oil is flowing. Collect some dollars over the ICs and you are fine. Brazil had $140 billion in agricultural exports. No, this is not the entire export of agricultural export. Nigeria's total oil product, all the exports from oil is up to $50 billion. It has never been, maybe around $60 billion is the highest you will see in history per year. So what are we, when we say we are producing, what are we now talking about producing? Or Netherlands? Or even the tech sector for in terms of for India. So we need to sit down, and these are not. That's why Nigeria's answers are not quick answers. That whatever the CBN will do, or whatever the fiscal side will do, those are the things just to keep managing the situation, just plastering the wound. If you really want to solve the rot, you go in on a 3 to 5 year plan, and you now sit down and sit down with manufacturing, you look at the infrastructure, you look at the policies, you look at the entrepreneurs, and you now say, this is how we want to take our space. Now look at the cocoa. Almost the price of cocoa has quadrupled almost in the last 2 years. And all the cocoa belts we had, either in Calabar region or even in Ondo and Ekiti, where are they? We can't match whatever Ghana is doing. We can't match whatever Cote d'Ivoire is doing. And so we are no longer in that business. We have soybean. Brazil is huge on soybean, around 40 to 30 billion in terms of soybean exports alone. You have sesame seed. China is a huge consumer of sesame seed. So government needs to see tea and all of that. You know, Kenya does almost $1 billion on flour. All these flowers that people are doing, proposing, Valentine, and all of these, most of them are coming from that region. And they have a solid storage system. Because the problem of Nigeria is that we have too many poor people because they don't involve in enterprise that connect them to the world. You know, they are only trying to, we are doing services, banking services, and EPOS transfer. You know, we are running services, but that will not scale the economy in the long run. No, you might not do it that way. You produce what are we doing with sesame seed? We don't eat sesame seed. We don't use sesame oil like that in size. So why we don't need it? So, but we are going to be deliberate that we have the climate and the soil for it. So we go for it. If we have a soil for the cocoa production, we stamp our authority there. I mean, Edo State has done some great work in terms of palm oil and oil palm development. Maybe that's we need to triple or quadruple that. Then we go for that. Malaysia and the rest, they're making a killing. No matter how much you look at the US, it's still the top country, one of the top countries in agricultural production. They don't joke with it, you know, because they don't know that food security is critical.
Because a country that cannot feed itself,
you are the
mercy of others. Because securing yourself in terms of food production is the first layer of security.
Yeah, because if some people decide to put a blockade to your food import,
this is a strategy that have been used even in war times.
In war time, so
cut off food, there's a problem.
There's a problem. So you have to also think through that. So for us, see, we are like a dieter. Someone is dieting and is checking himself on his scale every half hour. You cannot see the results. We're too moved by short-termism.
My people, you will see what Mr. Seun said in this video, coupled with everything that is actually happening in Nigeria presently. You see that everything that has to do with Nigeria as a nation is actually going down the drain. With everything that is happening with the economy, the naira to dollar rates, everything is just fluctuating. You see, in a country that is not productive, but the next thing they have in their mind is to float the naira. Now that they don't even have the money to float the naira again, you will see the naira to dollar value again. You see that the dollar is already rising against the naira again, because at a particular point it was being said that naira is actually one of the currencies in Africa that is doing best. But if you are to talk about it in a real sense, naira is not in any way working well. You could see what Mr. Seun said in that video. With everything that is going on in this country now, a whole lot of people are lamenting about the present situation of the country. And you will see there's this video that is going viral, that where Mr. President was being interviewed, where he said that Nigeria economy is one of the best now, that everything is going smoothly well with the country, which is actually a lie. Why would you go outside and say that Nigeria is performing well, and at the end of the day everything you are seeing is opposite of what is happening in this country? A whole lot of Nigerians are lamenting. Look at the fuel price now. You said in that video that the fuel subsidy has been removed, and you said that the reason why the fuel subsidy was removed is just because by now, had it been the fuel subsidy was not removed, then that Nigeria would have been experiencing bankruptcy at this particular moment. But in the recent, Evrywhere came out and said that this subsidy of 18 has been returned back, that all this money that you were saying they were not paying before, that it has already been paid again, that they are paying to subsidize the money again. But you are still coming out, President Bola Ahmed TINUBU is still coming out to tell the whole world now that the fuel subsidy has been removed just because he does not want Nigeria to go bankruptcy. But in the recent, look at Nigeria and look at Nigeria itself, what is being produced in this country. The only way that the naira can have value presently is our productivity rate, but nothing is being produced in this country, and they are still coming online to come and deceive a whole lot of Nigerians. Though Nigerians are already getting smarter now, and you see a whole lot of shenanigans that is going on, coupled with the EFFC and like the ex-governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello. With everything that is going on, my people, I want you to share your opinion at the comment section. With everything that is going on and everything that you've watched in this video, let us know your opinion about everything that is going on, and people, drop your opinion at the comment section and let us know what you feel, my people. Don't forget to share share this video to every social media platform. If you cannot share, like it, give it a thumbs up so that YouTube will recommend it for us. And if you are coming across this channel for the very first time, do well to click the red subscription button and don't forget to click the bell icon so that YouTube will notify you anytime we drop another trendy video. See you in our next video. Bye for now.